When it comes to big, age-worthy Italian red wines, a lot of people think of Brunello di Montalcino, Barolo, Barbaresco, or maybe even Chianti Classico. But there are other great age-worthy reds in Italy. I've got 7 of them right here. We're going to blind taste them. I'm going to try to suggest which one is right for you. That's all coming up. The noble, age-worthy red grapes of Italy include Sangiovese, Nebbiolo, and Aglianico. But there are some other grapes capable of producing powerful reds, and we have one right here, Sagrantino from Montefalco. Sagrantino is a big, late-ripening grape from Umbria, right in the center of Italy. It's the only region in Italy that's not bordered by the sea or a foreign country. Like Amarone, dry Montefalco Sagrantino is fairly new. In the past, Sagrantino was actually used to make sweet wines, passito wines. A lot of times they say that you need to age these wines for at least 10 to 20 years before they're approachable. The wines are typically really big, full-bodied, high alcohol. We're talking 15, 15.5, 16%, and big-time tannins. Some say they have the bouquet of Brunello di Montalcino with the tannins of Barolo. I'm not usually a guy for big, bold, high-alcohol reds, but for some reason, I've always enjoyed Sagrantino. I was confused for a long time because when I started drinking wines made from this grape, they were labeled as Sagrantino da Montefalco. But in 2009, the Italian laws changed and they became Montefalco Sagrantino. Wine number 1. These wines aren't really pitch black. They really have a brick red type of color around them. Maybe, looking at them, you might think they're Bordeaux varieties, or maybe even some Sangiovese. There's some color lost at the edge. Sagrantino has to be aged for at least 37 months before it's released. First one has really nice aromas. Quite leathery, like I have a blueberry cherry component. It smells like an Italian wine. And that's why I think I still like Sagrantino. Even though I don't like big, high alcohol reds, the flavors still speak to me as Italian wine. Number 1's a big wine, a lot of tannins, a little more austere than I would like. I think I would like a little bit more fruit here. Once again, these wines are not cheap in general because they have to be aged for such a long time. Let's go to wine number 2. Wine number 2 has some more of that traditionalness, a little bit of that rusticity that we like in Italian wines. Leather, smoke, still that cherry. Not sour cherry, just standard red cherry flavor. A little bit of mocha. 2 is really enjoyable. Nice balance of fruit. The tannin is there. Kind of coats the palate, but it's not too... The tannins, in a way, are a little bit less aggressive than number 1. Number 2 is quite good. I think the first great Sagrantino I had was in a bar in New York City. I was a De Filippo. I remember ordering it from an Italian restaurant. It was with a friend that I hadn't seen for a long time. We were really enjoying the wine. It was actually just a brilliant wine. And at the time, he was with this girl that he didn't really like that much. And I just remember the whole time we're enjoying the wine, and she was just sitting there disgusted with it and said, "I want some Tempranillo." Nothing against Tempranillo. I love the grape. That's all just against her. And the other memorable one I had was from Paulo Bay. They say that there's Sagrantino and then there's Paulo Bay, one of the iconic producers of Umbria. Unfortunately, those wines end up being over $100. Well, let's move on to number 3. Number 3 is more fruity. I'm thinking more blackberry, more forest berry type fruits. So funny, we had austerity, we had balance and rusticity, and this one is full-on fruit. Blackberry, raspberry, mulberry type flavors. Coffee. 3 is very intriguing. Again, big time tannins. 3 is a little bit wilder. Almost kind of acts like a natural wine. Well, you know what? I kind of like it. It's a little bit raw, but those forest berry flavors are really intriguing me. Number 4. The annual premiere tasting of Sagrantino just took place last month and I couldn't attend. So the consortium was nice enough to send these wines. And that's not a sponsored video, but it's nice I get to taste these wines on camera for you. 4 has a little bit of that barnyard type flavor, but I'm liking it. I'm digging it. Really leathery, savory, quite Italian tasting with that red cherry. I like 4 a lot. It just tastes like a kind of a traditional Italian wine. I remember in Singapore, I bought an Arnaldo Capri 25th anniversary Montefalco Sagrantino brought to a blind tasting. It showed really well. My wine won the blind tasting, so I was really happy. Number 5. Number 5 has this nice savory soy sauce component. Even my dad, that doesn't drink a lot of wine, when I'm giving him lots of wine to taste, he's always saying, it's so amazing that it's just a grape and they can taste so different. Here it's the same grape and the wines all taste very distinctively different. This number 5 is the most savory out of all of them. Kind of like a soy sauce leather. It still has some blackberry, black cherry type flavors. Man, these wines are dry. These tannins are big time. I mean, you need a lot of meat if you're going to drink them young. When I've bought Sagrantinos, I've always made sure that they were aged. I mean, I got to have some sparkling water with this. These tannins are pretty big. Number 6. 6 just smells good. Just smells good. It's like the perfect medley of if I had a bowl of blackberries, black raspberries, black cherries, mulberries, throw in a little bit of leather, a little bit of cedar. I might think that this is Brunello on nose. I really might. Number 6 has the longest finish. It's just balanced. The tannins are not ripping my face off. You can approach and drink this right away. I think number 6 is very good. Number 7, the last one. 7 again, more blackberry type of flavors, not cherry, blackberry. A little bit of soy sauce. A lot of things about these Sagrantinos is they're complex. Some people compare the grape to Tannat. Makes the famous wines in Mataran in the southwest of France. Also, it's doing very good work in Uruguay. It's got a little orange peel component. I think we can do the review. I think I have all of them now. Montefalco Sagrantino has the reputation of producers still kind of finding their way. I think what I saw all in these 7 wines is the wines were all of good quality. I didn't think there were any bad wines in the bunch. But then comes the issue of price. These wines are generally a little bit more expensive. At the low end, they're going to be $30. At the top end, over $100. So do people want to spend money on that? All I can say is when I've bought aged Sagrantino before in the past, it's always shown really, really well. And the good thing about these wines is even though they're probably all high in alcohol, the alcohol didn't spike in my mouth, which I really liked. So let's get into the reveal. Okay, my least favorite of the bunch was number 1. I found it was a bit austere for my taste. I would want a little bit more fruit. I still think it was a good wine. Also, it reminds me it does really remind me of Tannat, wines that need to age. And let's see what it is here. This is the Tenuta Col Falco, Montefalco Sagrantino 2015, $35. So kind of at the low end. Again, this 2015. Still, for me, a wine that has at least another 10 years before I want to drink it. So take that for what it is. Okay, as we step on up, all these wines to me were over 90 points, so all were pretty good. Number 3 was the most kind of natural wine tasting. If you're into that kind of raw taste in your red wines, this is something that you might want to seek out. I love doing tastings like this. Oh my gosh! It was one of my favorites in the past. This was the Di Filippo Montefalco Sagrantino 2016. $45. I think that's what when I bought it in a bar in New York for about that same price. Let me taste that again. Wow. Maybe because it has some of that stemminess, that rawness. That's what I thought. Wow. I thought if there was a Di Filippo in here that it would score the highest. I'm surprised. Number 5, I thought this was the most savory wine out of the bunch. Let's take a look here. This is the Luca di Tommaso Montefalco Sagrantino. $35, 2016. I think this is really good. Savory, but not too austere. Still have the fruit. Won a gold medal at decanter. Not bad. $35. If you want to check out Sagrantino and you like some of those traditional Italian flavors, I think this is something that you should look at picking up. I like that a lot. Nice wine. Right smack in the middle. This one is the most blackberry flavors out of all of them. Let's take a look here. This is the Terra di San Felice Montefalco Sagrantino Vinum Day, $35 2017. I'm surprised. I mean, it was pretty tannic, but the tannins were decent for such a young Sagrantino. Not bad. Okay, we're coming up on the top 3. These top 3 I highly recommend. I liked all of them quite a bit. So in 3rd place overall in my Sagrantino tasting, this one I thought was the fruitiest wine out of the bunch. I think that's probably why it was drawn into it. A lot of people are going to like this. It's going to be an easier Sagrantino to drink. The tannins were a little riper. It was fruitier, easier to drink. A lot of these producers I've never had before. This is the Montione Magia. Is that maybe my mom? 2017 Montefalco Sagrantino. Here's the kicker though, $65. Not a cheap wine by any stretch of the imagination, but I thought it was very good. Okay, the top 2 I was splitting hairs on. So very close in score. In 2nd place overall, this is the most traditional tasting wine out of the bunch. So this is the Azienda Agraria Moretto Omaro. Never heard of it before. Montefalco Sagrantino 2017. This comes in at $60. So number 2, and pretty expensive, but I have to say, I thought this was very, very, very good. Okay, in 1st place, I enjoyed this wine tremendously. I thought it was really well balanced. And this is the Scaccia Diavoli Montefalco Sagrantino 2015. $35. I've had wines from this producer before. $35. This is a steal for people that are liking to drink Barolos, Barbarescos, some big Brunellos. This is a wine that can stand up to that. Wow. Highly recommend. Really good wine. Good job, Scotch Diavoli. So I'd like to know, do you like big tannic red wines? Do you have any opinions about Sagrantino Montefalco? I'd love to hear in the comments below. Hey guys, and if you're thinking about which video to watch next, I've got a lot of blind tasting videos and other good things. I'll put something up there that I'm sure that you'll love. Thanks for watching. Cheers.